Situation Room. Day one of jury deliberations in the George Zimmerman trial now over. The jury asked to be dismissed around 6 p.m. Eastern after deliberating about 3.5 hours. They'll resume tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. And first on CNN, George Zimmerman's attorney speaking candidly about his client, the trial, and some of the key players. He sat down with CNN's Martin Savage in Sanford, Florida.
Bernie Della Rionda, what do you think of him?
He's a career prosecutor who I've never been up against before, and he handles his caseload different than I ever did as a prosecutor. And I have concerns about the discovery perspective. I think that my view of things like Brady and other information that we're supposed to get from prosecutors is at the very least a much different definition than he has.
So is that he's a snake? He's a liar?
I think that he has I think he's probably more used to running against public defenders in cases that he gets to cherry pick, and that he has overwhelming evidence, and that some of the nuances of how he handles discovery don't come to light. I don't think that Don and I have presented ourselves as a couple of young public defenders.
Judge Deborah Nelson, there are people who watch, and these are just people watching on television, would say that she hates you, or hates the defense.
She doesn't, and she doesn't hate me or the defense or Mr.
So what goes
Zimmerman.
on the sidebars? I mean, people look at that, and of course we don't hear it.
Right.
We only see. It seems terse, it seems awkward, it seems like many of the rulings went against the defense. So it would be wrong to say that the judge doesn't like you personally.
No, it would be wrong. Actually, I know Deborah Nelson for years and Judge Nelson for years and years. She's been on the bench for a long time. She's known to be stern and strict and to know the law. I will tell you, and I'm just not placating her, you will note that even though the rulings didn't go our way, like I would like them to, she was always well prepared. She does her case law research. She does her homework. You mentioned a case. She knows the case. They're a good judge.
We've had full days every day. Weekends, depositions at night.
The walkout?
Frustrating at 10 o'clock at night. Frustrated at 10 o'clock at night. I think a lot of people were acting out of frustration at that 10 o'clock hearing. So, you know, she's human. She's got a jury out there. She's got a high-profile case. She's got a lot of animosity between the parties that is fairly apparent. And she's trying to do everything she can to keep the peace and to protect her jury from undue influence. So she's got a very tough job.
Let's bring back our experts, our legal analyst, Sunny Hostin, and the criminal defense attorney, Paige Pate. Paige, what do you think about this relationship between the attorneys on both sides and the judge?
In this case, I really think the relationship has been fairly good. They've all been professional. You know, I think we can expect a certain amount of stress to go along with almost any criminal trial, especially one like this where everyone in the world is literally watching. So it's a fine line. The judge has to keep things moving along, and I certainly think she's done that in this case, but also be fair, let both parties present their case, and give them every opportunity that they need within the law. And I think that.
Give us a little flavor, Sunny. What's it like living and breathing in a high file like this over not just a few weeks, but months and months and months?
It's really something. I mean, I will say that being in the courtroom, you feel the pressure. I also remember feeling tremendous pressure. It's a very difficult thing to try a criminal case with someone's liberty at stake. It's just it's a pressure cooker, and you could see that playing out as the trial went along. And I will say now on verdict watch, for me, this was the worst part. I mean, because everything is out of your hands as an attorney. There's nothing that you can do. So you're doing this should have, would have, could have in your mind. Could I have done this better? Should I have done this? I maybe should have done this, but there's nothing else that you can do but wait. So, you know, it certainly is a difficult thing. I will say what was surprising to me with Mark Omara's interview is that he mentioned that there was real animosity between the parties. And, you know, yes, you're adversaries as attorneys, and yes, you get into it and you argue points of law, but it seems as if these folks don't really like each other. So it's gone beyond just the adversarial process, and there is a real discord there. So I thought that that was interesting.
And they did have some words that they exchanged in their closing arguments. So here's a little bit more of the interview that Omara gave Martin Savage. Watch this.
Let's talk about the makeup of the jury.
Okay.
This is, you know, first of all, it's 6 people.
Yes.
It's 6 women.
Yes.
1 person of color, and 5 who are mothers, correct?
Yes. Interesting because, of course, the jury selection process is very intriguing to me. I enjoy the process.
Is that the jury you wanted?
Yes. In this way. When we were going through it, I was surprised that the state struck the first black male that they struck. I was surprised by that. Once they had done that, then they seemed to be moving down the path, just getting rid of a bunch of white women, and I think that's inappropriate. And I challenged them on that, and the judge